Cutter top 10, Cutter top 10. You know you liked it a lot. Time to see who is the best and the worst at stuff. You know, baseball, basketball, football, hockey, NASCAR, wrestling. If I have to, so please join me. Why don't you read? This is Cutter's top 10. Hey there, Heather, ho there! It's Jeff Cutter Diamond. We're ready to rumble! Oh. Hey there, Heather, ho there! It's Jeff Cutter Diamond with a very special top 10. And this top 10 is the top 10 Negro players in NHL history. Now, if you want the full explanation of why I'm doing this top 10, you'll have to look at my next YouTube video, which is top 10 New York Ranger black players of all time. So anyway, here's the list. There were a lot of worthy candidates, but when we talk about the top 10 black players of all time, actually the top 10 New York Rangers players of all time, none of the top 10 players on this list have played for the New York Rangers. So that's for a different list. So basically two of them would be in the top 10. But anyway, here's an honorable mention. Honorable mention is Joe Ward of the Washington Capitals. Joe Ward was this fantastic player. He's a decent player. He's a role player. Well, he was for Washington. He scored a famous Game 7 overtime goal against Tim Thomas in the 2012 first round of the playoffs for the Capitals, beating the defending cup champ, the Bruins, and making Vancouver squeal with glee because, of course, Tim Thomas ruined Vancouver's chances for the Cup in 2011. So basically, that was that. And the other honorable mention is Darnell Nurse. I know he hasn't started his career pretty much for Edmonton yet, but I feel he's good. And his sister is a fantastic women's basketball player for Team Canada. And Darnell's uncle is actually Donovan McNabb. I know a lot of anti-Eagle and Redskin fans will say, oh, what the hell, man. So anyway, here we go. Number 10 is Trevor Daley. Trevor Daley, known for playing for the Dallas Stars. Pretty much a hard-hitting, no-nonsense defenseman. He plays for Pittsburgh now. Number 9 is Wayne Simmons, who's a fantastic offensive player, but unfortunately in a preseason game while playing for the Flyers in London, Ontario, I can't remember who the team they faced, someone threw a banana on the ice. Obviously, the ramifications are that, you know, his skin color and some certain animals eat bananas. Number 8 is Seth Jones. Well, I know he just started playing for Nashville, and I know he's a fantastic player, great defenseman for Team Canada in the World Juniors, which is going on right now as we speak. Seth Jones's father was Popeye Jones, who used to play for the Toronto Raptors. So that's amazing enough. Number 7 is PK Subban. PK Subban, fantastic defenseman for the Montreal Canadiens. The reason why he's not ranked like in the top 5 is because, you know, he gets a little fancy schmancy and all that. He pretty much, you know, doesn't act much like a hockey player sometimes. I know he does well in charity work, but I mean PK Subban is a pain in the butt. It's not because I'm an anti-Hab fan. Anyway, number 6 is Dustin Buckland, Big Buff, who helped the Blackhawks win the Stanley Cup in 2010 before being down to Atlanta, and then of course when Atlanta transferred to Winnipeg, he stayed in Winnipeg ever since, and he's been a big part of the Winnipeg offense/defense. No pun intended on big. Well, I know he's 6'6" or something like that. It's like 250 pounds. That's huge. Number 5 is Mike Greer. Mike Greer, you know, set the bar high for black hockey players, and was actually the first U.S.-born. No, sorry, not the first U.S.-born. One of the best U.S.-born players of all time, who is of course colored. Number 4, Dirk Graham. Now, this is a major surprise to a lot of people. You know Dirk Graham, of course, for the Blackhawks, and his famous hat trick in Games 4 of the '92 Stanley Cup Finals in the first period against Pittsburgh's Tom Barrasso, even though the Blackhawks lost that game 6-5 and the Stanley Cup. I have the Dirk Graham hockey card, but I didn't know he was. Well, I kind of had a hunch he was black, but he's biracial by standards. So he was the first black hockey coach in NHL history, if memory serves me right. Number 3 is Jarome Iginla. Jarome Iginla, of course, nearly 600 goals in the NHL. I mean, man, he was a big part for the Calgary Flames, and now he's in Colorado. I mean, Iginla still can play the game. That's amazing. One strange fact is that a lot of people don't realize he actually wasn't drafted by Calgary. His rights were held by the Dallas Stars, who traded him to Calgary for the rights to Joe Nieuwendyk, if memory serves me correctly, and someone else. I can't remember. Anyway, number 2 is the trendsetter, the trailblazer, the pioneer, Mr. Willie O'Ree, for what he did in 1958, playing for the Boston Bruins. He actually is still alive, by the way, in case you want to know. And number 1 is the only black player in the NHL Hall of Fame. That's Grant Fuhr. Grant Fuhr, big star goalie for the Edmonton Oilers, the Toronto Maple Leafs, the St. Louis Blues. I think he played for Calgary, if memory serves me correctly, too. I think that's all he played for. I know he was a star goalie for Edmonton. I mean, as an 18-year-old, he stunk in the first round of the playoffs against the LA Kings when the Miracle in Manchester. But I mean, he's done pretty well for himself. And then when the Leafs got him, they thought their goalie problems were troublesome because we ended up with Peter Ing as the number 1 star goalie in 1991. But of course, Grant Fuhr, his trade value actually was big because the Leafs ended up trading him to Buffalo for Dave Anderchuk and Darren Pupa. Darren Pupa was, of course, the backup to Felix Potvin during the playoffs in '93, and then Pupa got claimed by Tampa Bay in the expansion draft. So that's it for the top 10 NHL Negroes of all time. The next list will be the top 10 New York Rangers Negroes, and of course I will explain myself why I'm doing this in the first place.